Good morning and a very warm welcome to Sustrax Live, and really pleased to have you here today. We're going to be discussing Sustrax, which is our carbon measurement and net zero platform. For those of you who haven't yet signed up for the CaDI Live event, CaDI being the Carbon Database Initiative, we'll be showing the latest on that in 2 weeks' time. So please do scan that QR code and join us for that. CaDI now has over 20,000 carbon records covering companies, products, materials, supply chains, and international emission factors, and those are all completely free to use. And you can disclose your carbon footprint for free there. So that's really a few announcements for today, and I'm going to now hand it over to Myles Howard and Dan Loveless.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Wendy. Yeah, so if you please do scan the top QR code and have a go with the survey, Dan will take a look at the results any second now. Also, don't worry about the second QR code. We will show that again at the end to sign up to the next event. So if you're scanning the top one and don't have time to do the second one, we will show that. So I'll move on to the agenda slide. This QR code at the bottom right is still the one for the survey, so please continue to fill that out. So in today's session, we're going to look at what is Sustrax. It's been around for a while, but this is the latest iteration of it. We'll look at the core benefits and functionalities within the Sustrax platform. We'll look at the various versions we have of Sustrax based on the different business types and what you may need out of your Sustrax platform. And we'll look at what may be the best one for yourselves. We'll then look at user feedback and the verification side of Sustrax, and that will be from Dan Loveless, who's joining us as one of our consultants. And then we'll go on to a Q&A and we'll look at how to contact us and how we can go next. So I didn't really introduce myself there. I'm Myles Howard. I'm the product manager of the Sustrax platform. So if you sign up onto the platform, you probably will have various discussions with myself, as we're always reaching out to people for feedback. So Dan, I don't know if you're starting to see any results pop through on the survey, so we can have a look before we begin.
Yeah, there's a few that have come in. I'm seeing at the moment in terms of what features do people consider essential in carbon tracking software. User-friendly interface is at the top, which is great because that's what we're all about with Sustrax. Customizable reporting, simple to use, real-time data tracking, bulk loading of data, actually quite a spread across all the options. So it's good. It shows that people are looking for different things. In terms of what method people are using, some people are using Sustrax already, which is really good. Some people are using a consultancy-led approach, so I'm guessing that might be with us on an appraisal or something else. And some people are using Excel. So yeah, some people are using it. Some people, I think, will be able to show them what it's about.
Perfect. And is it mainly corporate reporting people are doing on the bottom one question, or is there a mix there?
Oh, sorry, I'm just getting it now. Yes, yeah, company emissions. Interestingly, have also got a couple of people reporting event emissions and a couple of people reporting service emissions.
Okay, that's great to hear.
So,
yeah, we'll talk a bit about our plans for an event version very soon later in the presentation. So that's good to hear people are looking at events, and that's sort of a hot topic right now. So yeah, let's move on. Thank you for that, Dan. So yeah, I'm going to start with what is Sustrax, and I'm also going to give a brief history on Sustrax and the platform. So it is a carbon management platform, as we said, and as Dan's already alluded to, we're trying to make it as user-friendly as possible, and we're trying to give as many versions to allow for different users at different sizes of business and different levels of their carbon tracking process. So what I'll do is I'll show all the versions in a second, but I'm initially going to talk about the core features and functionalities of all of the platforms, and then we'll look at what may be best for yourselves. So a brief history on Sustrax. So some of you may have heard of Sustrax before. It has been going for quite a number of years now. We had Sustrax, the initial one that was on Google Sheets. We then moved to what we called Sustrax 2, that was on a platform that we worked on, but then what we've moved to now with this Sustrax suite of tools, and this is what we're really happy about. We've gone back, we built them from the ground up to follow sort of the greenhouse gas protocol and the carbon reporting there to make them as easy as possible. And because we've built this now from the ground up, we have very good functionality to make tweaks and change stuff based on sort of customer feedback. So that's why we love this new platform, and we're constantly developing. We've got all the core calculations down now, and we've got all our plans out, but we're looking at where else we can take this, and we're always looking for feedback there. So it is a centralized monitoring platform, as it says here, and it facilitates carbon management with varying user levels. So let me move on to the core functionality and the benefits of the platform. So what I'm going to focus here is just the standard, how do you input data, what are the calculations based on, and what is the reporting you get out of the platform. So for the first slide, we'll start with data input. So this does vary based on the different tools you're using. So all of them have these input forms that are shown on the top here. And all of them have tutorial videos throughout. So when you're entering the data, you will be able to see sort of how to enter data. You can obviously contact us if you need help, but there are tutorial videos and instructions throughout the platform. Also on our larger tools, and I'll talk about this in the versioning, there is the option for evidence and file uploads. So that's great to have sort of a centralized place with all of the data in one place and all of your other ESG in all files in one area. And you've got the option to bulk upload data, and we're shown on the bottom here. It's also got error checking built into that bulk upload. So if you're uploading something and the system doesn't recognize it as a valid input for carbon emissions, it will warn you, tell you why, and sort of help through the platform to help you get in your emissions as easy as possible. So the calculation side of Sustrax, all of it is following the greenhouse gas protocol to provide accurate and reliable results, and all of them are generated real time. So we heard in the survey, people are looking for sort of real time data there. So what you'll be able to do is input data, and you'll be able to see instantly on a chart and graph how that compares to previous months, if you've got a monthly tracking tool, and also previous years if you're on our monthly versions of the platform. So all of them following the greenhouse gas protocol for scope 1, 2, and 3. So you can do supply chain on some of our larger models of the platform. And all of them are following various compliances. So I've got a long list at the bottom, but essentially by following the greenhouse gas protocol, it is following SECR, the US SEC, which is focused on scope 1 and 2 emissions, and various other reporting platforms, both voluntary or compulsory, and within the platform it kind of will show you what you can report as well. So all of this then leads into the reporting. So you get detailed emissions reporting on our Sustrax Lite platform, which I'll show in a second. You do get a self-assessed report that can be produced from the platform, and then on our larger platforms, we do an annual verification built in with the platform. So we actually produce you a tailored report based on the inputs throughout the year, post verification. So as you see here, it is just a way of seeing how you're tracking your emissions and making these available to share. So I want to move into our different versions of the platform. So here we go. So first things first, we do have our Sustrax Vita platform. This one is completely free to use, and this is more of a lifestyle, personal calculating of emissions. So this isn't for any business reporting, but this is recently released in the last week or two. I wanted to show it here because anyone and everyone in this call and your other employees or friends and family can use this tool. And what it does is allow you to track your personal emissions and share your emissions. So you can see here, this is on the final page, share your emissions. And on the left, you can see the sort of inputs you can put in. So you can look at your electricity and fuel use, any cars, flights, holidays you may have taken. And it does then have a spend section where you can cover sort of grocery purchasing through the year. So the great thing and what we like about having a lifestyle tool is, despite we mainly focus on company reporting, by making changes and knowing your emissions at home, it can lead to more sort of reductions and uptake in business sort of accountability and tracking and understanding. So we do recommend you share this with everyone, have a go after this call, and we will share a link. So that's one platform, not necessarily for your business emissions, but I wanted to just shout that one out at the start. So moving into our Sustrax Lite plans. So this is where we now move into company reporting. This is mainly for SMEs and medium sized companies, as it focuses a lot on your scope 1 and 2 emissions, as well as some of the transport related scope 3 emissions. So you can see on the table here, these are the different plans. Sustrax Lite, which is for SMEs with sort of one site and a bit of travel and reporting there, is completely free to use. So we would recommend after this call, even if you think maybe I'll go for one of the larger plans, just to have a feel for the tool, you can jump in, make an account for free and have a play on that one. You then move into the Sustrax Lite X plan. This one's focused again on small companies with one site, but with wider sort of travel and more inputs needed there. So these first two plans are great for SECR reporting, if you're a small company but still need to report to SECR. And then it's also great for SEC reporting if you're a US company that needs to report or wants to get ahead of SEC reporting for scope 1 and 2 emissions. So we definitely recommend Sustrax Lite and Lite X there. You then move into the larger reporting, and you can see on the far right of the table here, you get a lot more areas of scope 3 to look at. So you can start looking at your freight, your water, your waste, your commuting. So this is targeted at the PPN 0621 reporting. Some of you may have heard of it. It is mainly for companies with government contracts with the UK, large government contracts. However, it's quite often a very good stepping stone from I've only assessed my 1 and 2 and a bit of my travel to I want to assess scope 3, but it's quite daunting. There's a lot of services we purchase and we don't really know how to do that. Because this is a government reporting, it's kind of what they're saying companies should be looking at. So we find it as quite a nice stepping stone to maybe then moving on to wider scope 3 reporting. So yeah, definitely recommend looking at these platforms. Yeah, we can, if you have any questions about these after, you can give us a call. But yeah, that's our Sustrax Lite plans. We then move into Sustrax MX and AX. So these are our largest plans that we have available. These account for all of the categories you see at the bottom. This can cover near enough your whole, well, all of your scope 3 emissions reporting. And it is just a way to, with MX, you get monthly tracking. So you've got multi-user, multi-site and multi-country support there. So you have a very good way of tracking your monthly data input as you go through the year. Or we do have our AX plan where if you don't necessarily need to track on a monthly basis and you just want to track your annual reporting, that can also be done on the platform. So these two plans aren't priced, as you saw on the other page, they were priced in the tool and that's a set cost. These do change and this is dependent on the number of sites and what you're actually looking to cover. So if you only need your scope 1 and 2, but you want to track on a monthly basis, we can quote you this version of the platform. So if you look on the top right here, you can see that it is a consultancy-led verification, as I mentioned before, and you do get full reporting out of this. And that can be tailored towards if you're going for SBTI submission or if you're going for I don't know, CDP, we can help tailor that report to help with whatever you need and whatever compliances you're going for. That's consultancy-led verification. You've then also got input and export through Microsoft Excel, so you can bulk upload data using Excel templates, and you can also export your data at the end of the year, all in Excel. We've got AI recommendations within the platform that you can use when you're calculating emissions. They are available on all the other plans you may have seen, but this you get unlimited, as well as the fact that we can we'll be producing tailored recommendations within the reporting there. And then, yeah, you have consultancy support. As you saw, all of the plans come with some consultancy support, but within this plan, we fully work with you from the start to add all of the users you need, add all of the sites you need, set up your company structure. Maybe you only want certain users able to see certain sites, or you have a larger group and you don't want each company seeing each other's emissions. So with this one, we work with you on the setup. And with Sustrax MX and AX, we do a tailored demonstration that we can do, which will be of account manager or myself, and we'll talk through the plan and how it could work for yourselves. So that's the Sustrax MX and AX plans. And then I just wanted to talk at the end about sort of future updates and versions that we're looking into. So there's a few around the circle here. So our tool currently does allow you to calculate the emissions and kilowatt hours for ESOS, the Energy Savings Opportunity Scheme at the top right. But we're working on our tools because we have a number of users now that want to track more for their ESOS emissions within sort of their site details, floor plans, and they want to set targets using the platform. So that is an area we're looking into and we are working on. We also get a lot of feedback that, again, you can show your targets within the platform, you can plot and compare against your target emissions, but people want to be able to develop targets within the platform. So all of this feedback has come from our users, and we are working on improving there. We've got wider ESG support. So it currently does carbon reporting and we're very happy with all of the reporting there, but we're looking at other surveys and areas we can assist you in reaching further ESG areas. And then we've just got two other versions at the bottom. It was interesting people have mentioned events because we are looking at events tools. So we're in the final stages of development there. And if you are interested after the call, please email myself or Dan and we can discuss further on what we're doing there. And the same goes for product footprinting. Dan has been working with looking at that. That's a sort of an earlier stage. Events versions coming. Looks like it'll be coming sooner. But if you're interested in product footprinting services, we can do them already, but we are looking at building a platform for that. So yeah, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pass over to Dan Loveless, one of our environmental consultants, and he is going to look at the user feedback and verification side of the Sustrax platform. Over to you, Dan.
Yeah, thanks, Myles. Yeah, so just to give a bit of introduction on what I've done with Sustrax. I've worked with numerous clients since it was launched in late 2023. I've worked with Sustrax Lite users right up to MX users using the full sort of suite of features. And again, from that, it's ranged from long-time clients that have been using our services for a while, and we've just moved on to Sustrax MX or a different Sustrax version recently. But also clients that have reached out to us recently and are assessing their footprint for the first time, and Sustrax has helped them do that. Yeah, so I'm going to talk a bit about the sort of support available in Sustrax. It's worth saying that all our paid licenses, so that's Lite X, Lite XL, MX and AX, they all include time for training sessions and support, which is completely tailored to you. You also have a designated consultant whenever you use one of our services, and yeah, they'll be on hand to assist you year round with any questions you may have. Move the slide on, Myles. Yeah, so here's a quick overview of some of the support available within Sustrax. So as well as speaking to us, here you have top left, you have sort of guidance within each input form. So see here it has instructions saying what the form is for, and some of the headings it explains a little bit about what they mean. This is just to basically make it as user-friendly as possible and clear up any ambiguities there may be. Obviously, if you still are unsure, then you can speak to us. That's the first step there. In the bottom left, we have tutorial videos for all the input forms. So you can find those on each input form. There's a little tutorial button, and those videos basically run through each input form, kind of like the text, but in a bit more detail and with the person explaining it to you. So we have those available. Top right is our AI chatbot, which you can find within. Is it all versions?
So that one's for the AX and MX versions.
AX and MX, yeah. And that's basically we've trained an AI on the system, So it knows how to do everything. If you don't know where to input something, or don't know to find some analysis tool or whatever it is, you can ask the chatbot, and it will give you a very nice sort of step-by-step explanation of how to do that. Then we have report a bug feature, which you can find, if you find any bugs, basically, I want to let us know. That's an easy way to do that, and you can take screenshots of the page if something's not displaying correctly, to make it clear as well. And we have an FAQs page, which is in all versions of Sustrax, and I think it's actually tailored to the different versions in terms of what FAQs there are. But it talks about methodology, talks about certain specific tabs where it might be a bit unclear what like an average car is, or various things like that. So we tried to cover as much of the common questions as we can in that, and obviously you may still have questions. And just a reminder again that you can email us and you can call us if there's anything in here that that you can't find answered elsewhere. We're always looking for feedback on how to improve Sustrax. So as well as next to the bug report feature in Sustrax, there's also a request a feature. So if there's something you think would be good to include that we don't seem to have yet, you can just type it in there, and we'll see it and pass it on to Myles and the team. Because it's really driven by user feedback. We want to give the sort of services that people want. So do use that if you have ideas for more features. And do let us know how you find the platform in general. We've already had some really good feedback, like the one you can see here. But yeah, let us know how you find it, if there's anything we can improve, and we'll be sure to work on it. So just to talk a bit about the verification process that Myles touched on. If you do a verification with us, you'll be allocated an experienced carbon footprint consultant. The process will follow the GHG protocol, like Myles mentioned. That's what we use for our calculation process, and ISO 14064, which is the sort of international standard for verifications. The verification will cover 12 months of data input into Sustrax. So if you assess calendar year, then maybe it would be January to December 2024, for example. In terms of costs, if you purchase a license for Sustrax MX or AX, then the verification cost is included in that license. For the Lite versions, you have to purchase the verification as an additional cost. So the cost of Lite X and Lite XL doesn't take into account verification. Obviously, you don't have to be verified, but we recommend it because it gives you that extra assurance that your results are correct. It also lets you use our carbon assess standard, which you can see at the bottom there, for marketing and everything around that. And the final point, once you've measured your footprint, the next thing to do is publish it and share it around, basically. And Carbon Database Initiative is the perfect place to do that. The QR code on screen there will take you straight to the CaDI homepage. And yeah, we've already got over 800 companies on there with published disclosures. It lays out all your emissions in a sort of easy to view format. Again, following the GHG protocol, you can publish multiple disclosures, track your performance across years. You can also set company targets and track how you're doing against those. Ultimately, we think it's a really good thing. Proves your transparency in environmental reporting. And yeah, more and more companies are signing up. So there you go.
Awesome. Yeah, and on our Sustrax Lite plans, there is a button on them when you go to download your report to publish on CaDI, and but with one click, it will check and confirm and show you what's going in, but it will then upload your results directly to the platform. On the Lite plans, on the AX and MX plans, following the verification, we'll have a discussion with you about putting your results onto the CaDI system, and we can get you all set up. So it is built into the Sustrax platform as well there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to the Q&A. Whilst we're doing the Q&A, I'll leave this page up here. So we've got the CaDI live session at the top there, so please scan the QR code, sign up to that. That's in 2 weeks. I've also put some links here. I'll send an email around with the video with these links so you can get to them. But essentially, I've put a link to the 2 free versions of our platforms, so Sustrax Vita and Sustrax Lite. As I mentioned, they're really good to play around with, even if you want to use a different version, just to get a feel for the tool. I will link the Sustrax Live video from last time because we did a full demo of the Sustrax MX platform, so the larger platform, and that was sort of a 40-minute long demo. We can also do a personalized demo for your company, and we'd recommend you reach out to us and we get that scheduled in. But if you just want to sort of skim through, that's quite a good session where we did a full demo for an example company. So that's quite interesting. You can see the different pages. And then, yeah, after this Q&A, if you have any additional questions, this is mine and Dan's email. But also, if you have an account manager at the company, please just also get in touch with them. So yeah, Wendy's just put the CaDI Live video, CaDI Live link in the chat. And Dan, I don't know if you want to pull up some of the questions.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you everyone who's been asking stuff in the chat. Had a question. I use Sustrax MX. I find it good for events emissions data, but I would love a quick guide on entering data for company-wide emissions for a year. Yeah, absolutely. It will provide. I mean, it's really the main thing we advertise the sort of AX and MX versions to do. So I can have a chat with you afterwards, Venetia, because I know I manage your account, but it will follow pretty much the same process. I mean, if you're using it for both events and sort of company-wide data, then you may want to sort of split out what refers to what, and when we come to do the verification, we'll just focus on what the company-wide emissions are, but ultimately it will be the same for either of those processes. We had a question. Is the main difference between Sustrax MX and using an appraisal form consultancy the user-friendly platform to upload the input data? So I guess there's a couple of differences. When you use Sustrax MX or AX, when it comes to the sort of reporting side, we verify the data, which is slightly different from doing an appraisal when we do the calculations. So because the Sustrax calculates it for you, we don't have to do the calculations, we're just verifying that it's correct. So the exact wording of the report will vary in that way, but in terms of what you get out of the report, it's very similar to what you get in the appraisal, and that you get breakdown of results. The benchmarking stuff is all done within Sustrax, so we don't need to do that in a report. It gives you a lot of the sort of functionality that doing an appraisal would give you anyway. So yeah, it's quite similar.
Could I just add in there, obviously with the MX platform as well, there's an ability to enter data on a much more regular basis, and probably Myles, if you want to pick up from there, and what you can get in terms of more granular management information to use within the year, and Myles will tell you the technical detail of that.
Yeah, so as Wendy says, definitely with the MX platform, you can do your monthly tracking or quarterly tracking, whichever you prefer. But it just allows you throughout the year, rather than getting to the end of the year, a big scramble, get all the data together, send it over to come for print, and you need to do the auditing then. What you can do is, throughout each month, you can upload the data. You can also then send it to various people, and they can have their own logins, and you can have different facilities managing their own data. So it gives a lot of people their own control to calculate their data for their facility Functionalities, so it can get buy-in in that way. And then also, on the monthly basis, we'll typically still do the verification at the end of the year, but if you want to use some of the consultancy time for a bit of a quarterly check-in and want to have a chat with us, we can do that. Whereas the way we do it with an appraisal, it is very end of the year focused. So, and quite often it's the end of your financial year, a lot's happening. You don't always have the time, but you can look at it as you go through the months then. So we do find it very effective for actually carbon management and reduction there.
Yeah, just to add on to that, if you look at the analogy between that and the way that you manage your finances in a business, I think you probably look at your finances more than once every year. So it really does make sense. And to be able to see the changes that you're bringing about due to those carbon reduction initiatives actually deliver within your results is actually really powerful message in terms of culture generation and development within the businesses. So I do recommend the monthly tracking there.
Yeah, as Wendy says, if you change something halfway through a year, it's sometimes quite hard to pull that out at the end of the year, but you'll instantly see that strategy worked. We did reduce emissions, changing the light bulbs, the energy went down. So areas like that it's brilliant for. So I've pulled up some of the questions now, so if I can do a couple of these. I see one mentioning commuting and home working for PPN 0621. So home working is in all of the light plans as well. I did notice it didn't show it in that table, so we'll get that added. But you do get the input for home working in all of the light plans, including the Lite XL. So you will be able to do the full PPN with all of them in there. I see another one. So there's someone asking about the APIs, allowing them to link with other systems. That is something we're looking into. It's not something we have on any of the plans yet. Currently, we have the bulk upload. So if you're working with, you mentioned, an expense platform, or if you're working with a travel platform, we typically recommend you just export it in the Excel format and then you bulk upload it in. So there is that step. So we are looking at API integration. But for now, we understand that if you've got an expense report, or if you've got 1,000 flights, you don't want to click there and input a form one by one. So it is more of a download and upload situation at the moment, but that does help there.
Yeah, and I think we're looking at that right now, and with those common ERP platforms that are out there. So I mean, do tell us what you're using in terms of your ERPs there. Obviously, there's a very common one used there. If you want to tell us what you're working on, then that will give us a sense of which ones we need to focus on.
I see a question. Some of the data and waste is quite small. Is there a way to adjust the measurements on axes so it's visible on the bars? So within the results charts in Sustrax, and it was available in the last demo, so I will recommend that last demo. You can see, and if we do a personalized demo as well, you can look at your results, and if waste is very small, what you can do is you can go to the waste results page, and then you can see your waste on a monthly basis. So it's taken out of the other one, so it doesn't get swamped, but you can then look at your waste monthly, and then there's drop downs and splits, so you can click what type of waste was it, what recycling, was it recycled or landfilled? So, and then as we said, as you make that change, you'll also be able to see those smaller changes, even if it's not a major part of your emissions. If you're really interested in that, it does allow you to drill down into the specific results, so you don't have to look at everything on like an overview basis. I see someone saying they missed the start of the event. Yes, don't worry, we're going to be editing this. I think Wendy mentioned maybe later today, tomorrow, but more likely Monday. But what I'll do is I'll send a link round with the video, all of the links I've sent here, and then probably a mention of that, the CaDI event at the top here, which is in 2 weeks. Dan, is there any other Q&As you've seen?
Someone has asked, if I haven't used Sustrax previously and would like to sign up for it now, can I upload the previous year's data to compare the carbon over years? Yes, that's actually something we offer. If you sign up to Sustrax and you've been assessing with us for, say, 3 years before, as part of the sort of initial setup, we can go and upload all of that past data onto the system. So immediately you can see how your future emissions compare with what's come before. So I was saying with the sort of benchmarking that we have in the appraisals, we know that's really important. So we definitely want to preserve that in Sustrax, and we'd be happy to help you do that if you do sign up.
Just checking. I think there's a CaDI question. Does CaDI also have the ability to compare between companies of the same size, profession, and working type? So it doesn't have a way to quick sort of click compare, but what you can do is you can filter on the tables for professions, working types. I believe you can also filter on sizes, so you can compare by going into the company database, and then what you want to do is you want to search for the different company types and compare there. So we'll also be covering that in the live event. So yeah, thank you for the question. I'll make sure that's
that is a good one, isn't it?
So, yeah, it's good
I mean, I think we can, without doing a complete plot spoiler here, say that as well as seeing all those companies' carbon emissions, we're showing against them now, I think this is live, the expected emissions.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's important because obviously within a sector, we know what the intensity is, so we show that versus the actual measured. But as I say, please come and visit the session in 2 weeks' time, and obviously we'll go through all of that.
Lovely. Okay, is there any other questions for anyone? I'm just checking the chat now. I think that's everything that we've got on the questions there. So what we can do, check. Yeah, so that's all of the questions we have there. So I'll just say one more time, if you have any further questions or you want a demo to run through and see how this all works, please jot down our emails, or like I say, I'll be emailing you when the video comes out and you just reply to that and we get something scheduled in. But I'll wind down there, and we can take any other questions offline. Wendy, is there anything you wanted to?
Great. Well, thank you so much, Myles and Dan, for running through Sustrax today. I'm hoping maybe as one of your weekend activities that you'd all like to have a go with Sustrax Vita, the lifestyle calculator. It really is a great New Year's resolution to have a go at that. And I think, Vita means life. It also, the Vita aspect means quick, I think, as well. It's quite rapid to fill that in. So I think Dan or Myles are going to going to put the link into the chat just now so you can look at that. So please take a few moments to do your footprint and to share that with your teams, because as Myles has said, those good behaviours that we have at home do translate into the office and the workplace, so it's worth doing that. Thank you very much for attending today, and we very much look forward to seeing you on the next one, and hopefully that will be CaDI Live in 2 weeks. Thank you so much and have a great weekend.